Apokolips Now. It's just funny. I love how it's titled that.
... Ow!
Yeah.
Exclamation mark.
I wonder, in that writer's room, was like, what are we calling this? And they just kind of went, I would just wonder what the thought process around the writer's room.
Oh, well, I mean, it's really funny, though, after all the conversation we've had in the past month or so about Francis Ford Coppola. And it's just like of course, it's obviously a riff on that classic Vietnam movie, but it's like, when we were, this episode came out in 96. So we were, 14? Yeah. We never had that reference.
I hadn't seen it. I hadn't seen Apokolips Now then. I mean, I know my dad had it on video cassette. I know he had it. Obviously, he had all the war movies, being a military man. But yeah, it's just kind of one of those where it's just kind of, oh, okay. And it's funny too, because after all the Francis Ford Coppola talk, I did put it on, and I forgot how long that goddamn movie was. I did end up falling asleep because it was like late on Saturday. I'm like, I'm gonna put it on.
In a way that's going to put you to sleep. Not.
I mean, if you were not ready, I mean, it's not a terrible movie. It's not. It's. I get why it's a classic, but it's just one of those where, like, yeah, you have to be in a mood.
You do have to be in a mood because it moves at a very leisurely pace, like you're floating down the river with Martin Sheen. Not gonna lie.
And you got to be ready to see Martin Sheen naked fully. All right. Anyway,
just get the tangent out of the way immediately. Why not?
Pretty much, right? Welcome to DC Fan-imated, guys. I'm, of course, Dave, the film junkie, and with me, as always, Mr. Scott McClone. How's it going?
Going well. I would like to go off because, once again, like last week, buddy, I got notes.
Good. I love that fact that you have notes. Notes are always great. Yes. And I do want to say, oh man, I forgot to change that. Shit.
I'm about to say, Jason was last week.
Jason was last week. Okay, JD McRae. Sorry, JD McRae. I didn't upload. Well, I could upload the new one, but it's fine. JD McRae is supposed to be the executive producer. I forgot to change it on StreamYard. I changed it on Streamlabs. Forgot to change it on this. So it's been
professional. One of those days. We don't have that here.
I actually need a producer at times. I feel like, Jesus.
Yes, you.
But anyways, thank you, JD McRae, for being the executive producer on the show tonight. And we got some people on here. We got Jason. We got Tony Movie Chappie D9 Neil Blomkamp fan. Rewatch The Thing. Oh, the prequel. Okay.
I've never watched that one, actually.
It's okay. It's just there's something that gets taken away because they use CGI as opposed to practical.
Come on, the practical stuff in the John Carpenter one is
that's the thing. But the way that it leads into, The Thing, it's kind of a chef's kiss. I mean, it's just the way it leads in. I was like, oh, okay, now, okay, it's like one of those, and you go,
okay,
yeah. So it's kind of cool. Like, oh, I know where this is going.
Oh yeah. We know where that dog's headed.
Yes, pretty much. Yeah. So it's pretty cool. Good to see you guys. All right. So, yeah, we're going to be talking about we're back in Metropolis, and it's fitting that we're back in Metropolis of all days. It's almost like things just like line up when it comes to our DC Fan-imated stream sometimes, because it's just like, oh yeah, because we were just in Gotham City for what, 2-3 episodes?
2 episodes, because we had Ventriloquist and then Catwoman. So yeah,
that's right. Yeah, and no, we had 3 because we had Never Fear last week.
That's right. We had Scarecrow. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We went through a 3-week stretch where we went back to Gotham. Okay.
Yeah. So just to be back and on Superman Day, pretty crazy. And you might as well already get out and come back in.
Of course. I was waiting.
I was hoping it wasn't going to happen. But yeah, it's just kind of cool how it works like that sometimes. And Superman Day, I talked about it on Film Junkie Live, just kind of went over like my little brief history with when it comes to Superman stuff. But one of the biggest things is we love this animated series so much. So
so much. I want to start off with one note. I mentioned this at the end of Never Fear last week, but for everyone tuning in this week, this was originally intended to be a 2-part season finale.
That's right. You did say that because yeah, yeah. And I was like, from what I remembered, I was like, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Oh yeah, this two-parter has season finale vibes all over it, but it was extended by the episode order for season 2 was extended by 2 episodes to accommodate the two-parter that does end season 2. So we actually for Superman, it season 2 ends on two-parters.
Kind of love that. Oh man, but yeah, we are back. We are back in Metropolis, and we're also we got Darkseid coming back. And this episode, man, I tell you, I mean, there was things I was like, I remembered a lot about this episode, but just the way I don't know how I want to explain it. I don't know. I think it's just a good, reintroduction to Darkseid, I guess you could say. I don't
It
know.
really is, but I will tell you that there were 2 things about this episode that I remembered super clearly, and the rest of it was like, I don't remember any like, it's weird. I remember part 2, at least I think. I'll wait till I see what happens next week when I watch part 2. I remember
Yeah.
part 2 so clearly because
Yeah.
part 2 is like burns into your brain because of what happens in part 2.
Yes.
Part
There are some
1
things. Oof.
there are things that happen in part 2, but part 1, there are 2 things about this episode that it was like, I could just play it like a video in my mind, and the rest of the episode, I was going, "I don't remember a damn thing." It was weird because I thought, "Oh,
Yeah.
no, I know this episode." No, I don't.
Yeah, there's things, yeah, and I was like, yeah, and and it's kind of funny too because I remember, during the time of when Snyder Cut was coming out and stuff was coming out about that, and of course that was our live action, another, our Snyderverse introduction to Darkseid and the whole anti-life and what his whole thing is about. It's like when people weren't too clear about that, it's like, man, there could have been so many times where you're just like, well, just watch this episode. They give like a brief little thing that you
Oh,
that's
it's a
probably gonna be
chef's kiss. It's a
yeah,
chef's kiss of a history lesson
yeah.
because it covers it covers everything. Everything, but everything I mean, like, as in, like, if you just need, like, the hardcore basics of Kirby's Fourth World, this episode does it. Like, there you are. Everything you need to know.
And I do like it when they do it. You see characters, but you don't know who they are.
You know who they are. I know who they are,
Yeah, yeah,
but
we know who they are, but when you see them, you kind of go, "What the fuck?" It's like it could be just like one of those things. We'll get to that as we move along in the episode, and and the way the episode starts too. I mean, it starts off with a bang. I mean, we get Maggie, we get Turpin, we get them basically like showing up to a pretty secret facility. It's very
yeah,
like cool. Like, we got Maggie like, doing the key card thing. We got an armored truck. What's happening? It's just
it's
like a cool little
a pretty
start.
massive, like, it's basically like an evidence depot,
Yeah.
but it's like,
Yeah.
dude, that's I thought they would draw. Okay, they mention Inner Gang.
Yeah.
So we've been trained in this series because once again, Inner Gang was created by Kirby alongside all the Fourth World stuff. Like these two have always, since their inception, have always gone hand in hand. Like it's the point.
Yeah.
But so when they mention Inner Gang and you see the giant armored car, and basically the fortress that they're going into, I thought they were dropping off like some Inner Gang weapons. I thought, and then it was just, oh no, it's a whole bunch of cash. I'm like, well, that's a rather large facility just to be dropping off some cash. Not gonna lie.
Yeah. And I love how Turpin's like in the back with like a shotgun or it's like he's like, yeah, hey, man, these guys gonna mess with that, and of course Turpin, crazy eyebrows, Turpin, and being as cocky as all hell, but then all of a sudden, I mean, I guess what do they? I mean, it's a ship, but they kind of call
Hover
it
tank.
hover tank. There you go. Okay,
Hover tank,
yeah,
yeah.
I was gonna say air tank, but I mean that's the same thing. But then of course this shows up, and we with the title of the episode, and you see what it looks like, and you see what the pilot.
All the crazy Kirby
Yeah.
design stuff
Yes.
on
Yeah,
it. Like,
you're like, oh, here we go. We're getting right into it right away. Cool. I love it. and using like the little arms that come out, and then they just kind of, and there's like electricity that goes through the arms, so they blow like a hole right into like the side of the building.
Even though electricity wouldn't do that, but never comic book science.
Hey,
It's
hey,
energy. It's
it's
energy.
coming from
It's
Apokolips.
coming from Apokolips. It's
Yeah.
energy. The energy blows a hole in the wall, whatever that is. It's just it's science.
It's Apokolips science.
It's apocalyptic science. Yes,
There you go.
absolutely.
There you go. Exit out again, Scott. Damn it.
Damn
Usually
it.
it's only a one time, but yeah, today it's twice. Of course, on Superman Day. How dare that? Anyways. But yeah, so that's what happens. Like they use like a little arm that reaches out and then shocks it and just blows a hole right into it. So it gets pretty intense right away. So there you go. You're back. We need some of that. We need some of that apocalyptic technology.
Sure, the apocalyptic technology right now. I need that bracelet that Mannheim's wearing later.
Right? That's right. His little, I guess you could say, apocalypse cell phone kind of thing.
I gotta take this call. I love how he misses it. But before that, so
before that, we have a little battle that happens, and Maggie, poor Maggie, does get some debris dropped on her.
She gets like
effed up.
I mean, they even like animate, like you barely see it because she's flying across the screen, but they even like animate like her trench coat getting all like ripped to shreds.
Yeah, and then of course Turpin like digs through, finds her, and she's just out. She's out cold, and then it's just like, yeah, it's like, oh shit, like it gets pretty. And of course they take the money, and then of course we know who intervenes. Superman. I like how he just runs right into it. He just runs right into it. He just like,
love it.
Yeah.
But they even animate at least, if you look, like the windshield is like, spidered. It's great.
Yeah.
And I love how they fire, once again, things that sound so Kirby to me. Fire the Nova Bomb.
Yeah, no, I thought that too. I was like, Nova Bomb. All right. I didn't remember this part. I was like, the Nova Bomb. What the fuck is this? It's pretty well, it gives Superman quite a jolt.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. And like and even like is like doing that whole like blurry. Like they even do like the little blurry seeing thing as he's smashed up against the side of a window. And then they drop off like that sound bomb. Like I think it's funny because it even has a did you notice it has a tuning fork in the middle?
I noticed that too. I was typing it out. I'm like I was like high pitch sound frequency. There's a high frequency noise. And then I was like, holy shit. I'm like right in the middle of it. It looks like, like a tuning fork, or what did that call that, right? Tuning fork?
Yeah. Ding.
Yeah. It was like, oh yeah, that's a pretty cool design. But
okay, I'm gonna call BS on one thing though.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So this thing goes off, shatters glass within a how many mile radius. Superman is down for the count. Okay, because of the sound waves this thing's emitting. How is any normal human hearing this thing still alive? I mean, if Superman is bleeding out of his nose and his ears, blood, by the way, that we see animated, how the fuck is any normal human still alive after hearing that sound? That's the question I want to ask.
Children's show, Scott.
Children's show.
I mean, that's the reasoning behind it. But if we're going to be talking about if it was like a reality type thing, it would have, people's heads would have been exploding like they're in scanners. Yeah, it's just like whoosh, boom, just boom, boom, boom. They're all would have just
now, okay, unless here's me going, playing devil's advocate.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, of course, Superman's going to be hit because his hearing is maybe it's super. So maybe it doesn't have as much of an effect on humans because their hearing isn't strong.
See, there you go. Yeah, there he is. There we go. We just figured out why. They're right there. But
I don't know.
Yeah,
comic books, for the most, comic book shit. Come on,
that's what it is. That's what you have to do, though. I mean, when you had to think about the logic, and I'm sure that they were thinking about the logic too.
No, they weren't. They were just something cool. It's cool cape shit. And that's all. That's all we're getting.
Cape shit.
Cool cape shit. But I did love the fact that when it was over with, before Superman decided to toast it with his heat ray vision, even the civilians had some blood like dripping out of out of their noses and the ears. I was just like, dang.
It's a little
I,
dark.
I still get amazed in this era of the DCAU after going through the 85 episodes of Batman the Animated Series, and we've talked about it for a couple of weeks now, but it's like, dude, now you get to animate the blood whenever you feel like it. It's so
Hell yeah.
weird to me.
I know. Now they're not. They're just throwing that blood off. I mean, I did not remember that too. And then when you see him, he's bleeding from his nose and his ears. It's like, whoa! I was like, wow. They even went ears on that one. I'm
Well,
like,
the ear would make sense because
yeah,
it's like a it was a sound bomb. I mean, so the
yeah,
bleeding from the ears because they would be like rupturing his eardrums almost. The nose was the one that was like, oh wow, you're going like you're going pretty hardcore with this. I'm not gonna
hell yeah.
lie.
And then we cut to the hospital where Maggie is at.
Okay, this was the first part of this episode that I remember so clearly, and
This was
yes,
wow.
yes, and you want to know why? Because I
Okay.
alluded to this back in season 1 when we discussed the first appearance of Maggie.
Okay.
Do you remember why?
Because we're questioning her sexuality.
We don't have to question her sexuality. We know what her sexuality
Yeah.
is,
Yeah.
but this and Paul Dini and Alan Burnett and Bruce Timm, all the Dan Reba,
Right.
all of them confirmed, yes, this was our scene where we did a wink to the audience to go, yes, y'all know Maggie's a lesbian, and here's her partner.
Yes.
And it's done so subtly because
Yeah.
it could just
Can
be
we
a
go back to
friend.
just subtle kind of things? Not nowadays. Nowadays, it's like, yeah, I know we get a little too carried away. But yeah, this was like, it was just kind of funny watching this right now, especially, nowadays, and it is Pride Month, which is, cool and everything, fine, whatever. But at the same time, it's like everything's so like in our faces when it comes to entertainment. We just like, almost like, oh, we didn't have this back then. Yes, we did. It's like, but it was subtle.
It was in a children's show. They were holding hands. Like there was an intimacy there with the way they were holding their hands. She doesn't even get a freaking name. Like
No,
she doesn't have a name. I even looked into like the voice credits because she
no.
has speaking lines. If her name is in the credits, even I missed it. And it was like, but that was it. That was how you said Maggie's a lesbian
Yeah. I
without
mean,
saying Maggie's a lesbian because
but
you
at the same
couldn't get away with that in the 90s.
yeah, and it was just like because at first you're like, well, maybe it's her sister, but no, when she like wakes up and you see the way she looks at her and stuff like that, yeah, it's like okay,
And like
totally. And
and
then
the way they're holding hands the
yeah,
whole
it's like
time. No,
yeah,
it's her romantic partner. And
exactly.
but I just remember going, of course, like they thought it would happen when I was a kid and I saw that. Ew.
Yeah,
Watching it with I can't remember if it was a documentary, like a featurette, or if it was no, because I think Apocalypse Now has commentary, at least on the DVDs, maybe not on the Blu-ray, because we lost some commentary tracks on the Blu-ray
yeah.
from what was on the DVDs. And I remember listening to the DVDs going, oh, okay,
There it
yeah,
is.
there it
Yeah,
is. Okay, I get it now. Yeah. But yeah,
yeah.
but because of this, I remember this part of the episode very clearly. It's weird. It's like, oh yeah, Maggie's a
Ooh,
lesbian. There we go.
ooh. Yeah, but I also love Turpin, who's like he's so like amped up, and he's just like, oh, I'm gonna find these guys,
I
and
love
I
the
love
friendship between those two
yes,
because Turpin is ready to burn the town down to go after Inner Gang
and
because of
she
what
just
happened
goes,
to Maggie.
hey, you realize these guys, what they were flying and what this is not for you. This is not street punks, right? That you can handle, Turpin. This is stuff that you need super. And it's kind of cool. What I like about this, what I really did like about this episode is like, because we saw, I mean, obviously when we get introduced to Turpin, he does not like the fact that it's like, ah, fucking Superman. There's an ego to him and he hates the fact but then we've seen that he goes, you know what? All right. Yeah, we need Superman. I mean, he's gotten to the so then when it came to this point, it's almost like he's going back to his old ways of just like, ah, let's just do it. I'm gonna have an army. We're gonna take on these guys and blah blah blah. And then even later in the episode where he just kind of goes like, we don't need to be dependent on Superman kind of thing. But then it's like he's almost going back to his old ways. He doesn't quite get there because he realizes, oh shit.
But it's because it's because of the friendship he has with Maggie, because they're partners, that
Yeah.
because he wants to avenge her.
Yes.
And he's old school enough that he wants to be the one to deliver the justice.
Yes. And I like how, because obviously she embraced her real life like partner. And then even like she even like grabs his hand, like, hey, come on now, like,
Because
yeah,
she knows that if he goes off the deep end, he's going to get himself killed.
yeah, he's gonna be done for. So yeah, that was a cool little moment between them and seeing all that. And then of course we get back to Mannheim. Bruno, he's back. He's on
Which is
Earth.
interesting because the last time we saw Bruno was Father's Day, and
Yeah.
he got dumped in the pits in Apocalypse. So it's just like, oh, when did you show back up on Earth, dude?
So apparently Darkseid was like, yeah, all right, I need somebody to go back there. Might as well get this guy, and puts him back there, gives him a nice little, you know, bracelet that has what the Kirby-ness on it.
Oh
Kirby.
yeah, all the lines,
Yeah,
zigzags, big circles.
yeah.
Once again, it's not Kirby Crackle, but
It's not exactly that, right?
but
Yeah.
but it's got but once again, it's that weird line work that Kirby would do. I just love it because every time you look at it, you go, Kirby. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Very
Kirby.
noticeable.
Very noticeable. Yes.
Yeah. So, and then, obviously they're dumping the money on the desk, and then all of a sudden it starts like lighting up, and he's like, I got to take this call. And it's like, oh boy. And then sure enough, there he is, Darkseid. And we got Mr. Ironside's voice back. And
Oh, I know. And I was reading up on, because I was trying to get prepared for this two-parter. And it really is funny to go back and and I said this when he first showed up at that first Mannheim, at the end of that first Mannheim episode. Not the first Mannheim episode ever, but like the one with Kanto.
yeah.
Uh how modulated it sounded. And by this point, it's like they've taken away all the modulation. It's like, no, just let Michael like do his voice alone can do what we needed to do to be Darkseid.
Well, I mean, that's when you think about the voices that have been Darkseid. I mean, it's like just let them do their voices. I mean, we there was like a lot of heavy conversations that we had with Ray Porter, and I mean, he even said like he thought that his voice was going to be heavily modified, but then when he was like when he actually heard it, it was like, oh yeah, they didn't do that much. It's like yeah, because your voice is awesome.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, I mean,
like
and good dark sides. Oh, I mean,
yeah,
you got Ironside, you got Porter. I mean, I need to go back and watch Superman Batman Apocalypse again because as much as I love the late Andre Brower, I
yeah.
I, I didn't love his voice for Darkseid particularly, but it
Who was the guy who plays Candyman? I
oh,
can't remember.
Tony Todd.
Tony Todd. There you go. Yeah,
Oh,
also a great voice.
oh, he was amazing for those last couple of those New 52 animated movies because he was in Reign of the Supermen and
Yeah, that's right.
Apocalypse War. That's when he was Darkseid.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
He's got that voice too. I mean, that's the thing. It's like,
Oh yeah, you don't have to do anything to Tony Todd's voice. You just
no.
speak into the microphone, Mr. Todd.
That's all he has to do. And okay, so then we're okay, so he gets that, and then he basically, I mean, I mean, Bruno, he's just, he's even though he's got a mission, he's still gonna be hey, I need some cash here. We got 20 million. What are we talking about? And I love how Darkseid is like, this is not what I sent you back here for, not for petty theft. And then he just dissolves all that cash on the
God, yes.
it's like, oh wow, he has the power to do that with
Oh,
this.
Darkseid has the power to do
Of
just about
course.
damn anything. I mean,
God damn.
he's a god.
I
I mean,
know.
seriously. I mean, let's.
And I just love how he just like totally was like, nope, this is not what I that I sent you here for. So
No.
done. Done.
Poof.
He just
And
poofed it.
I know it's so good.
Yeah. And then we got Turpin, holding a press conference. We got we have just our brief appearance of Lois Lane in this episode with Clark. And, this is where Turpin sounds more like the Turpin of old, where he's just like, we can't depend on just Superman and blah, blah, blah. But it's like, dude, you got to remember what you're dealing with. Listen to your partner. Listen to your partner.
And I like how Clark is looking at the hover tank and he kind of sees the apocalyptic writing on it.
Mhm.
And he's like, I think this is alien.
Yeah.
And just as he says that, a boom tube shows up.
Yeah. Boop. Oh, yeah. There you go. Yeah, you're right. And then who comes flying through on his crazy scooter? Flying scooter? I don't know what you want to call that.
Okay,
It's like,
okay.
what do they
I'm
call
going to look this up because I'm sure
Yeah.
there's actually like a name for
I
that thing.
meant to look for that too, but we got Orion showing.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, hold on. Yeah, let's see. DC. I comics. Because it's really weird, like the auto fill I'm getting right now. Okay. It does have a name. It does have a name.
What is it?
Astro Harness.
Astro. I don't like it. It's just the way that he writes. It's like a scooter. I mean, he puts his feet in it. It's got the handlebars, and it's just like
But you notice how it like completely like wraps around him because it like he does stand on it, but it goes up his body. It like wraps around his arms.
It holds him in there.
It does hold him in there. But
yeah.
The Astro Harness.
The
I'm telling you, Kirby would name things. I'm not gonna lie. There was, I mean, Mother Box, Astro Harness.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've gotten used to mother boxes, but at least But yeah, Astro Harness. I don't know. To me that seems like he should be suspended and not hold. It just to me I was like. I am almost wanted to be like, what is that? Like a fucking Cosmo scooter? I mean, what is going on here? I almost wanted to call it that. I mean, that even sounds better. Cosmo scooter. I mean,
oh god, but I love how he comes like crashing in. Like, I kind of want to know, like, what were you doing like before you went into that boom tube?
Yeah,
because,
let's get that backstory.
I know,
He's
right?
fucked up. He's also bleeding from the nose.
He is. Yeah, and he crashes, and the Astro Harness like goes into like pieces, and it's like he comes in hot, and that's a crash landing. And the funny thing that happened to me when I was watching this episode, when he opened his mouth and started to speak, I got very confused.
Really? Why?
Yes, because when Orion shows up in Justice League Unlimited, it's a different voice actor. And that was the voice actor I was expecting to hear coming out of his mouth.
This voice actor sounded kind of familiar, but I didn't know who it was.
Okay. I didn't recognize it either.
Okay.
But his name is Steve Sandor. And he's one of those actors that pretty much showed up on every major TV show in the 70s and the 80s.
Okay.
He also, his first appearance was in an episode of the original Star Trek series.
Interesting.
But if you name a 70s or 80s major television show, dude had a guest appearance on it. I mean, we're talking A-Team, Knight Rider, all of those things he was on. Like, he was just one of those like day players, and he would just show up. I mean, dude has a resume.
Yeah. Well, I mean, with a voice like that, I mean, I just sounded familiar. Maybe I don't know. I just sounded like it was, and I was like, oh, maybe I was like hoping. I was like, oh, is it somebody? Oh, please let it be somebody, Scott.
Well, when we get to Justice League Unlimited, it is somebody, and that's why I was just so shocked when I was like, that's not him.
That's not the voice I was looking for. Yeah. So of course, like Orion shows up, and he's just like, he needs Superman. And it was kind of funny too, because they did that whole thing where like when he shows up, he goes up to Clark and he goes, Superman. And it's like, oh shit, he just called him out. He knows who he is. But then he goes, I need to talk to Superman. It's like that whole thing where it's like, they like throw you off. Great writing. And it's a great way to go to commercial too, because he's just like Superman and he's holding on to Clark. And it's like, oh no, he's going to out him. But then he goes, I need to talk to Superman. And then it's just like, lights out. And then Clark zeroes in on Clark and it's like, go to commercial break. But I love that right there. I was like, yeah.
Good job, Rich Fogel.
Yeah.
Good job. And then, of course, when we wake up, we're back at Star Labs because, of course, where we're going to send some crazy alien, we're going to send them to Star Labs.
Exactly. And then, of course, we got Hamilton talking to Superman. And then, yeah, he keeps on asking for you. And then, of course, we see like a guard like get launched out of the room. And then we get a conversation of like, all right, let's do this. And then this is where we get our history lesson. Of
Dude, I
course.
love how it goes to widescreen for the history
Yeah.
lesson. Oh, so
Good explanation to what is going on. Talking about of course, the two planets separating, Apocalypse, New Genesis, and showing what was all like. What are they like? Who is ruling both? And and I do like the let the mother box explain. And
yeah, which that's a voice actually.
who's that?
Not one that is Barbara Perkins, who not exactly someone for our generation,
Hmm.
but what she was in, you'd recognize the names of things that she was in. She was in that ABC series Peyton Place. If you
I don't remember
Oh, it
that.
was a big time TV show in the 70s.
I
Like I've never seen it, but like the name is one that I go, yeah. And she was in Valley of the Dolls.
didn't see that either.
I didn't see it either, but once again,
It's
that's
one of
like
those that you recognize. Yeah,
it's one of those that you recognize when you talk
I
about
recognize
classic
that.
70s movies. Yeah, and she actually plays the character that was based on the author of the novel.
Oh, okay.
So,
That's cool.
but yeah, she's the voice of Mother Box.
But yeah, they show all that, and then it's like they show the High Father,
Yes.
and
Did you recognize the New Genesian who is flying around?
Light Ray, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
good
okay.
job.
Yeah. Okay, I was like, I
No, this is the pop quiz section. This is gonna be
okay, thank you.
this is the pop quiz section. I was like, okay, good. You got Light Ray. Okay, there we go. Good, good. Okay.
I don't remember whose wife was though. Who's the High Father's wife?
Oh, what is her
See, that's the thing.
name?
Yeah, because I was like, wait, I don't remember like in my knowledge of like the wife, and I was like, is she somebody? And I didn't look it up or
Oh,
anything.
I'm gonna look it up now because I
Yeah,
am
because they talk about how like obviously Darkseid's ruling Apocalypse, High Father's ruling New Genesis, and then they do this thing where they're going to be like, all right, so in order to keep everybody at bay, it's like where they're going to swap their firstborn.
yeah, okay. So Avia is the name of High Father's wife because
Okay,
they were married before he became High Father, back when he was just Isaiah. Same way that Uxas became Darkseid when he got the
gotcha.
Omega effect.
Okay.
But yeah, swapping the babies.
Yeah, to
Uh,
keep everybody at bay, to keep the peace, I
right.
guess.
Well, because the idea is that we're not going to destroy each other if the other side has our kid.
Yeah, but of
Um,
course, Darkseid didn't give a fuck.
Dude, I give a fuck because I didn't remember the episode telling me this, but of course we know that the baby that Apocalypse gives to New Genesis is later revealed like, oh, that's Orion. Orion is actually the son of
Yeah.
Darkseid. Now here's the other pop quiz for you, Dave.
Ooh.
Who's the New Genesian baby that gets
Yeah.
given to Granny Goodness?
Yeah, that one I don't remember.
You don't remember?
No.
It's Mr. Miracle.
Oh, okay. See, I should have known that. What? Yes.
Yeah, that's Scott Free.
Yeah.
That's the trade. Scott Free is the son of Highfather who gets given
And
to
Orion is yeah,
is the one that
that's
gets given
it.
to the New Genesis. Yes.
Yeah, but we do see some Granny Goodness also in there too, which we do see later.
Yes, we do
Yeah.
see later. Yes.
We do.
Still waiting for that. Still waiting for that voice.
But and it's cool. It's funny because like I still remember like again, I mean, going to like Snyder cut stuff. It's just like I still remember like and when I was watching this right now, I was like, oh yeah, there's Granny Goodness, and I still remember like, oh shit, I still remember when all that was building up, and then of course when Zach was going to start making the rounds, like talking to us and stuff like that. So like remember like him just dropping that bomb, the first conversation I had with the guy when we were working out, like him coming on the Vodka stream first time, and he just flat out just said that, and I was like, "What the fuck?" I was like, "What am I supposed to?" Yeah, and I remember like teasing that think I told a couple of people. I don't know what I just remember like, okay, so I think I teased the GIF. I mean, this is 3 years ago.
Oh, no, but I still remember when,
Or
like, the clip started coming out,
oh,
we
yeah,
saw that scene, and I just went, "Well, that's Granny Goodness," because I'm a nerd, I know exactly who that is right
yeah,
there.
yeah. But yeah, we see the exchange. We see a brief moment, with those characters, and yeah, we just basically get like a cool little history lesson when it comes to what's happening
And then
out
the
there.
light, and then I love how it goes bright white light, and then we're back to full screen. We're back to 4 by 3, depending on what TV you're watching this on.
True
And
that.
that's kinda cool because, when I'm watching this show on my iPad on Max, 4 by 3 takes up, you know, my entire, iPad screen.
That's good. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
not
yeah,
like when I'm watching it on, like, my widescreen television, and then I get,
the bars.
the
Yeah.
bars on the sides. Yeah,
The boys. And then, of course, we have more air tanks or hovering tanks or
hover tanks, yes.
hover tanks, yes, that show up. While they're moving, they're showing up to the Air Force base
Oh, which is important, by the way. This is an Easter egg.
because there's a name. The name, right? I,
Senate Air Force
yeah.
Base.
What's the name mean?
Joseph Leonard Sennett, born 1926, died 2020. Um, he was an inker for Kirby on the OG Fantastic Four comics at Marvel.
Well, there you go. I figured that was something when I saw the name. I'm like, there's no way that that name does not have some kind of significance.
Oh no, the dude worked on Fantastic Four from 1965 to 1981.
Wow, that's quite a stretch.
That is a stretch, yeah. But yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, 60 he was a it's kind of funny to see a Marvel, I mean, 60 years at Marvel. So he's a Marvel guy, but he's getting name dropped in this episode because, I mean, when as long as Kirby was working on Fantastic Four, starting from 1965 onward, this dude was inking Kirby's pencils.
That's awesome. Gotta love
All
that. It's
right.
just those little Easter eggs, just so great. So then of course, all right. So now Superman and of course Orion are gonna be uh well, Superman needs help for sure because now we got more than one. We have like two this time. Is it two? Or is it wasn't two, it was two. It was two, right? Not
It was
three?
2. Yeah, there was more
Yeah.
than one. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So we got both of them jumping into action and right off the bat Superman is already like getting that fucking that arm and that claw with that electricity going through. We already knew that it blew a hole in the side of that fucking building, so obviously it's pretty intense when it comes to Superman. So yeah, he needs some backup for sure, and thankfully Ryan Orion is there with his I mean now it's kind of funny because I was looking, I was like, damn, I don't know why I was getting Peacemaker helmet vibes. I was like, only because like now we know who Peacemaker fully is. Like, he was not a big character, now he is. And we talked about Peacemaker stuff, but yeah, he's got like a Cosmo Peacemaker type of helmet. And even the colors are a little bit,
Yeah,
a
the
little bit.
color, yeah, the colors, yeah, because he's got the red jumpsuit with the blue undies,
Yeah.
and
Not
I
a bad
I mean,
costume. I like it.
yeah, yeah, and then the blue gloves,
Yeah.
once again, it's that classic sort of like the heroes are in the primary colors, the villains are in the secondary colors, which, by the way, if you didn't know that,
That's what they do.
that's what they do because of the 4 color process. That's why if you look at every superhero in the old days, it was all blue,
Bright.
red, yellow,
Yeah.
and then all the bad guys were green and purple,
Yep. So
and,
yeah,
the color
primary and
wheel.
secondary. Yeah.
Yeah,
Pretty
mhm.
much. Yeah, made sense. It made sense aesthetically, like when you're looking at it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there of course we get this big action sequence that happens. And then Darkseid, of course, is like is there, but not there, of course. And he sees Orion and he's like, oh shit. I didn't know he showed up. How the hell did he get here? And he's like, all right, time for plan B. And not to mention, we also have parademons here too.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It's because I love it when Orion showed up and he's like, or when Orion's talking to Superman at Star Labs, he's like, "Oh, I didn't fight my way through parademons for you to," blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, yeah,
Because we hadn't really seen parademons before, right?
we did
A little
back in
bit?
the Kanto episode
Okay, it
when
was. Okay, I couldn't remember.
Yeah, when Mannheim
That's right. That's
follows
right.
Kanto through the boom tube. and we get our introduction. Before we see Darkseid, we see parademons.
That's right. So we briefly saw, we didn't see them in action. We
No,
just
we
kind of
didn't.
saw them in like, oh yeah, they're there. There they are.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. And I was like, I couldn't remember. I was like, because they weren't like, it was at the end of the episode. We didn't see like a full on like them in action. And it was like, okay, now we're seeing them like, all right, they're going to be full on in action in this one for sure. And yeah, so we get all that, and then of course like Darkseid just wants to move on to the next plan. And obviously Superman and Orion take on those two ships. It's all good. Turpin shows up. Everything seems like it's okay, but then it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna go to the power plant now, and we're gonna be doing something right
Which,
there.
by the way, another Easter egg.
Oh shit.
Yeah, because it was the Ayers Island nuclear power plant.
Yeah, I didn't think it was David Ayer.
No, it wasn't David because Ayers.
Yeah, he's got
not
the S.
Ayer.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dick Ayers.
Dick Ayer. That sounds familiar.
He was the inker for Kirby on the Fantastic
Another
Four
inker?
before Senate. Yes.
Jeez, another wow. So it just paying homage to a bunch of the Kirby people. That's awesome.
Yeah, the earliest issues of the Fantastic Four, and he was an artist and a cartoonist, but his connection to Kirby was he was Kirby's inker before Senate was Kirby's inker. Yeah.
And then I love this scene right here because like this is where Turpin all of a sudden just like he starts going, wait a minute, I was getting a little too back in my old ways. Superman, thank you. He was basically going, hey, I appreciate that, you saved the day right here. And but Superman's like, hey, wasn't really me. It's this dude over here. But then you see like Orion, and he's just like without his helmet, just kind of looking down and just he knows the job is not done.
Yeah, and there was an opportunity here because I don't remember when in the series they show what happens to Orion when he starts to lose control. Have you ever seen that before in the comics?
I don't know if I can't remember off the top of my head.
Basically, he kind of starts to go berserker and wild, and his eye, like he starts to get like his eyes start to glow.
Darkseid a little bit.
He gets Darkseid-y, like like the little cracks.
Now that you're saying it, I'm starting to remember something. But yeah, so like we're kind of seeing like a little bit of something where what's great about this is like, he does reveal this is where they, if anybody didn't know, like he reveals that, oh yeah, he's my
the baby.
dad. Yeah, I'm the one that got exchanged, and I was over at New Genesis, but I come from that fucker's loins. So he's like, I know him. I know that this is not over. I got to return back to New Genesis. I got to warn. There's like some shit that's gonna go down, and then of course he leaves like Superman his own little. Well, this is not the Apokolips cell phone. This is the New Genesis cell phone, so it looks flashier. It's like a disc kind of thing. And I like how Superman's looking at it. But then, of course, what's happening over at the power plant is they're setting up a machine that's just going to totally just fuck up the power plant. And
also the fact that Darkseid is going to say, fuck you to Mannheim. It's
it's so good. It's so good because it's like, I guess we could. This is kind of where we should probably go in here.
Probably,
because,
really,
because I was like, wait a minute, we're getting towards the end because this is a two-parter, folks.
Yes, exactly.
Because it was even funny too, because when I was watching it, I was like, oh yeah, I'm like, and I was like, man, I was like, how does this end? And I'm like, oh wait a minute, we are getting to the end here because it's like, yeah, this is where, and we kind of, we'll just jump in right here where Superman and Orion are talking. Because it's a cool little exchange. But yeah.
Yes. I'm his son. I was the infant Darkseid gave up to pay for his uneasy truce.
God, he sounds like somebody.
I had no idea.
It doesn't matter. Right now,
you've probably seen him in in one of those appearances he did.
Yeah.
See how it rests on his shoulders like that.
Yeah, I guess it is a harness, but I don't know the feet thing. See, that's a snazzier little. It's just so weird.
And you will be.
I guess it is more like a harness. I don't know. It just seems to me like when he has like little handles. more like a scooter. Then, bloop, bloop, of course, it has to make noise.
Of course.
The island's been evacuated just like you ordered, and the incendiaries
There are those
all set to take
parademons.
out the reactor's cooling system.
Mannheim, what do you think you're doing?
He thinks he's like, oh yeah, I got
There it
this. He's
goes.
gonna make me a god
You know,
or a
Darkseid,
king.
you and me.
Darkseid promised him to make him a king.
Indeed. You've served me well, Mr. Mannheim. And now, farewell.
Oh, when he says that. Oh,
Oh, I love how his eyes start like blinking.
But Gibbs, what about
I mean, he even saves the
Promise
freaking
you'd make me a
parademons,
king.
but he
Yeah.
just leaves
And so you
Mannheim.
are,
he doesn't
king
care.
of fools.
Oh, so good.
Darkseid? No!
What you get, Mannheim? What you get?
Oh,
Gotta be a kill switch.
Nope.
oh, I just love looking at those designs because like all the line work. Once again,
Yeah.
like if you
So good.
lines, circles, all that stuff. Mannheim, you're blowing up a nuclear power plant. I just
Yeah.
like-
But hey, there's always a boat, right? There's
there's always a boat.
Come
You're on the
on.
water, you gotta, there's always a boat. So dramatic. So dramatic.
I mean, I didn't remember a freaking mushroom cloud at the end of this episode. I'm not.
I didn't
gonna lie.
remember that either, to be honest. I was like, oh shit. It actually, whoa.
Yeah, Mannheim didn't make it out.
Yeah, he-
Ken,
I think not. Look at
Dude,
that.
and listen to that.
And look at the fucking score.
Ryan was right.
Yeah,
It isn't over.
Christopher Carter
Isn't
went
over.
hard.
Oh. To be continued.
But I want to. I'm looking at Mannheim and Superman like standing like so stall like hero, both of them hero pose, and like you're looking at a fucking mushroom cloud.
I know. I can understand Superman, but Turpin should be like Jesus. Yeah. But hey, it's cool for the shot, I guess, right?
Oh, it's a cool shot. I mean, the two of them standing side by side. And of course, once again, like this two-parter. Wink, wink, hint, hint. Big Turpin things.
Oh yeah,
happen with this two-parter. So
yeah. There's some, and then Superman does get definitely ran through the ringer a little bit. Yeah, to a point where we see a fucking fucked up Superman costume and him just.
oh yeah, we're hinting way a lot about
Yeah.
the next episode. But
Oh yeah,
guys, go
it
watch
gets intense.
go watch part 2, dude, because shit gets real in part 2.
Shit gets pretty damn real, and I was like, "Ooh, man!" So there you go. Good first part of this story. But we always love talking about two-parters because sometimes it's like, which one is the better one? Which one's the weaker one? And I'm like, to be honest, until I watch part 2, I'm not sure.
I see.
I'm thinking part 2 is.
Part two's the better one.
Yeah,
Only because part 2's the most memorable one to me.
Yeah.
But I'll always love part 1 for that history lesson. Because that history lesson is just like that's how you take a complicated mythology like Jack Kirby's Fourth World and do it in like 30 seconds.
Yeah. That's what
Beautiful.
you do right there. That's what you do. But there you go, guys. There is Apokolips Now.
Now,
Part one. And we'll be talking about part
So,
2 next week.
now, go watch Apokolips Now, part 2.
There you go. You got it. All right. So this was a lot of fun. It's a great little, like I said, it's a great first part. And the animation was good, right? It wasn't
18.
It wasn't
but
18.
It wasn't 18, but it wasn't terrible either. It was like A- B+.
Okay. All right. There you go. Coming from the ex-school teacher.
Yeah, I don't know what can I say.
I like it.
Also coming from the person who was really fucking picky about animation.
Yeah, very true. Very true. But all right, guys, we'll be back here next week at the same time to talk about Apokolips Now.
Part 2.
And can't wait for that. It's going to be cool to talk about. And we appreciate you guys.
I'm just going to say bring the Kleenex.
Bring the
Kleenex.
Yeah. Anyways, so Well, that's pretty much it, guys. Let's go ahead and plug away, Scott.
Well, of course, you can find me on Twitter X at ScottDC27, on Instagram at McMerlin, and on Vero at Scott McClellan. You can find my podcast, the DC Squadcast, where podcasts can be found. We're on Vero, Facebook, and YouTube at squadcastmedia.com.
There it is. All right, guys. We love you spending time with us. Smash that like, thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you guys, on the Vox stream Friday. No guests or anything right now, just us talking all kinds of shit. So it'll be fun. And yeah, guys, we'll see you next week to talk about. I won't do it again. Apocalypse Now, part 2.
Of course, you're going to do it again.
Yes, exactly.
Now.
All right. We'll talk to you guys later.
Bye.